So hey guys, just wanted to do a quick video about the 3 features in iOS 11 that I found to be most useful so far. I've only been using it for a day. The first feature is the updated control center, which I guess if you see it, you're going to say it's a ripoff of Android's little control center, and it totally is. The second one is what was the second one? The one-handed keyboard is pretty awesome, especially if you're using it with the Loopy case. And the third one is the ability to take quickly mark up a screenshot. I'll do that one first. In order to, actually no, I'm going to do the control center first because I can do something pretty awesome. One of the neat things, this is kind of what it looks like, but they've included a screen recording button for the control center, which is kind of odd to me, but that means I am able to record everything on my screen as I'm talking, so it saves me a bit of time. So as you can see, this is the new control center. Most of these things have 3D touch to them. One of the neat things I thought, or interesting things that stood out to me, was my ability to now turn cellular data off, as well as turn on my personal hotspot. Those two things, usually you had to go into your settings, and it was kind of like your settings, scroll down, network, it saves you maybe 3 swipes, doing it through your control center now. These toggles now, or your brightness is now just a toggle. it's a little more efficient that everything now sits on one screen rather than having to swipe it like you would with iOS 10. The 3D, the flashlight's kind of neat now because it's got these ticks to it. So, all you do is just slide up and it remembers your settings. And I think that was the same for iOS 10. But one of the neat things, before I get to that, one thing I didn't see during the keynote was the HomeKit. And now HomeKit is still there. Instead of it having its own pane, you have to use 3D touch to access all the accessories, your favorite accessories anyways. And if you were to tap it, it brings you straight to your home app, which is pretty handy. Now, there's a ton of other ones, so I can add them all in. The accessibility shortcuts, alarm, Apple TV remote, do not disturb while driving. There's probably 24 different control center little widgets, little apps. And for me, out of all these other ones, I maybe might use the notes features because all the scripts that I write, I do it in notes just because it's just simpler. The other thing, which is kind of odd that stood out to me, was the magnifier. So basically, if I do the magnifier, it's just going to zoom. It's just going to switch to a camera mode and then zoom in on stuff. So I'm currently zoomed in on a piece of paper that I tried to track all my macros on. I made a big pot of food and I had to try to figure out what was in it. So that's kind of the control center. This is going to be very useful for me. It totally looks like a TV remote now, which I guess kind of makes sense since there's all these other features coming into it, and that 3-pane setup between iOS 9 and iOS 10 didn't quite cut it. So I'm pretty excited about this. On to the one-handed keyboard. So if I go to my notes, and I go, how do I get to it? There we go. So that's left-handed keyboard. I could do right-handed keyboard. So this just makes typing with one hand way easier than it was before. It's kind of the same size as the iPhone 5S SE size keyboard, in my opinion. So this is kind of neat. I'm a big fan of this. And the last thing is the screenshots. Take a screenshot, something shows up in the bottom left corner. If you want to mark it up, you tap it, and you can just draw stuff on it. Delete screenshots, do it again, and if you don't want to, you just kind of swipe it to the left. So all these things, I think, they're just quality of life improvements. Not a big jump in terms of pure functionality. The biggest thing that I'm interested to learn a little bit more about is going to be all that machine learning. That's Apple spent probably a quarter of the entire keynote talking about, the machine learning on your contacts, trying to get your contextual menu on your Apple Watch, which was something that Android Wear tried doing a couple years ago, but they never quite figured it out. So it'll be interesting to see how well Apple does it with their Apple Watch. But all in all, it's, again, just a bunch of quality of life upgrades. The control center is probably going to be the biggest thing affecting me on a day-to-day basis because I use the control center a lot, especially now that I'm reviewing HomeKit stuff. So stay tuned for a couple more videos regarding iOS 11. There's a couple of things that I still need to spend a bit more time with before I do a video. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments section below. That's kind of all I got. All right, buddy. Quick video. We're done. Let's go run.